Why wanting to change people is a trauma response. The point of this video is basically uh, a way to talk about narcissism from a perspective of trauma and, again, coming back to the trauma bond and why you want to change people. Often, it's self-serving and also self-destructive in a way, because if you're wanting to change someone, and especially if it's a narcissist, it's to the extent that it's like a trauma bond, right? And your parents were that way. You want to, essentially that's trauma bond at its extreme, is trying to get the unlovable, the person that is incapable of meeting your needs to meet your needs, at the end of the day, right? So that's a trauma response. It's a trauma bond. And I want to go in depth about this topic because I think I got a pretty good idea of why people try to change others, and I want to go into depth about maybe a new perspective on it. It's easy to go, this person's bad, the narcissist is the bad one, and the codependent or whoever the person is as like the good person. But again, if you're choosing that person, it takes two to tango again. And I think it's a disservice for healing and for growth and for yourself to look at any relationship as all, they're all good and you're all bad, or vice versa. Or, it's, if you truly don't want to make the same mistakes, it's imperative to see your part in it. And to get off the soapbox for a little bit here, and just stay on topic about why you want to change someone, right? And why you shouldn't. Okay, so if we're talking about narcissism and why they won't change, and I would even make an argument of why they shouldn't in some cases. Seriously, because there are situations. We have to start by talking about narcissism. Why is someone a narcissist? It's a defense mechanism, and a way to navigate life when you grow up with a unhealthy, a toxic, unbalanced childhood, where love is conditional in such a way that it conditions a person into having to bury their true self, because they'll never feel good enough. And if you force someone like that to look at that, not only are they going to act harshly because they've, and the longer time's gone on, and the more they've really invested in this false self, like you're essentially re-traumatizing someone. And that's why that has to be done in therapy. It is no joke. It is not. And that's why those of us that kind of mirror people or are truth tellers, you're not all virtue. I'm gonna take a different side to this whole chosen one and, whatever, empath. Like, that's not all good. And although I would argue, yeah, it's better because the intent is there, that's a very personal journey for someone to heal and to change. You cannot make people change. And, to stay on the side, for the sake of consistency, and stay on the, the devil's advocate for the narcissist, by being an empath and trying to change someone. Those are separate things, but let's just say trying to change someone. It doesn't matter who you are. It's a selfish thing at the end of the day. It can be. And I would argue most of the time it is, because if you're with that person, and we're all on our own journey, and that's the whole enmeshment thing. I get it. If it's a mess, right? To be someone who really is trying to change someone because you know it's better for them. And then if you can change them, you can, change your parents, right? And it's, again, I make these videos and I realize often it's too late. If you're, very often people that are watching these type of videos have already gone through the fallout. So I struggle with talking in, as much as I'd love to be preemptive and talk about certain things to keep people from that extreme pain and hopefully help someone that is going through this. But that's the thing about blinders. That's the thing about the whole relationship thing. It's the reason when someone tells a loved one that this person isn't good for you, they often don't listen, because it's one of those things where you kind of have to do the work looking back. So again, give yourself grace, but and time, and yeah, but hopefully this video helps those of us that are trying to pick up the pieces. Again, yeah, it's, once you see it, you can't unsee it, and ignorance is bliss. Often I think to myself all the time, like, fucking suck. No one. I'll say if you're watching this video, there's a good chance that you're doing the healing and you're gonna be a better person. And it hurts right now, but ultimately I feel like it's a better life, and I hope it is, because damn, it's a lot easier to be a narcissist or be codependent or have these defense mechanisms. But yeah, again, I guess I'm going full circle about the idea of it's not your job to fix anyone, to heal anyone, to do anything. Even if it's someone like your parents, like, that's not your job, that's their job. That is their job. And if you had narcissists as parents, there's a good chance they, made you the parent, and that is wrong. I'm telling you right now, there's no world in which that is healthy or good, or it's just plain wrong. And don't let them convince you otherwise. You're not there to heal them or to give them to meet. You weren't asked to be here. And for parents that expect you to meet their needs is just sick. It's abuse, and that's not right. So having said that, you can't change them, and you shouldn't want to. And even if you could, that's the trap. Because even if you could, even if you could, and you can kind of separate the whole and just look at people as just individuals, even if they're your parents, like, it's not your job, and that has to be done correctly. If you can separate the fact that you want your needs met, right, and you want to undo the wrongs, and you want to believe that you're lovable, that's them. That's not you. That's them. So that love that wasn't given, all that crap, it's so hard to do, and this is part of the whole cycle and the goddamn curse of this garbage. But I think it's, yeah, again, I made a video about this. It is the most courageous thing I think an individual can do is heal and change the family cycle. Because in the case that you do have a family of your own, you're not going to put that pain on them. It'd be a lot easier to, but that's not why you're here. That's not why you did the work. That's not why you went through all this. So again, why trying to change someone is a trauma response. It's not right. Because again, it's traumatic. therapists. I underestimated the power of therapy. Having a neutral party, having someone you trust, can pay dividends for healing and for seeing the forest through the trees. But yeah, again, it's a rough one. Trying to change people. And that's where it gets really deep, right? Man. Ooh, I want to make another video about that. I imagine the hardest thing is to be a parent. I'm spitballing here, but, and maybe I sometimes make excuses, but I'm gonna go with this notion. Now I'm just doing thought exercises here, but if you're a parent and you've already had kids, I wonder how much harder that is to do the healing, because especially if your parents passed away. So let's say I had kids, my parents passed away, and then I didn't do the healing. On one hand, I'll never be able to make things right with those parents that are now gone, as far as healing, and then having them around while the healing was done, meaning you'd have to accept the reality of things, knowing that they're not around, while also having kids of your own that you may have treated poorly. So you'd have to look it. That's brutal. That's why I think my point is I'm basically making a general thought experiment, but a position about narcissism and people that are toxic, and maybe if they have already had kids, it's arguably harder. I could see how it'd be much harder to change, because the pain, I think, would be even greater. So, all the more reason to do the healing before you have kids. Not to mention all the stress and all the anxiety. So I'm just getting video diary style, but I guess I'm essentially beating around the bush about empathy towards the the narcissist. Even if it's your parents, it's like they're still just a person, and it sucks. But the healthiest way to think about toxic people, and they're not. When you don't have a sense of self and you're in pain like that and you're hurting all these people, it's like you're not happy. Your pain is going to be for life. You're not going to ever have real relationships, and that person's not going to be trustworthy and all that crap. So, if you were hurt by someone like that, just know that, again, the damage that was done is a blessing, because that person that was betrayed is going to have a chance at life, while the other party will not. And that's their choice. And that's the most powerful message I think there is with these narcissistic abuse, these terrible stories with people and bad breakups, is the person that was betrayed is the one who can heal, is the one that can change. But yeah, that'll be the end of this video. I just wanted to talk about that. Why wanting to change people is a trauma response, and it's not your job. That's a codependent trauma response that's just going to hurt you in the end. Yeah, so that's the end of this video, guys. Work on yourself. That's paramount, and don't feel bad about it. It's not selfish to do the work, take care of yourself, love yourself, heal, and do what's fulfilling, to help grow and do what you've always wanted to do, because that's, yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'll end the video. Quit while I'm behind. Don't try and change people. That's their journey. Again, that's the point. Changing people, and it's just it's dangerous. It's dangerous. That's the main reason. It's dangerous, and it's a trauma response. It's unhealthy, and to the extent that we're all individuals, which we are, that's up to that person to change. All right, we're all on our own paths. Have a good one, guys.